Hi, I'm Davina Shemaya, and just like you, I am recovering from complex post-traumatic stress disorder and narcissistic abuse. And today I wanted to talk about flashbacks. And flashbacks can range in, intensity. They can be um, I kind of compare them to rain, they can be like just a very light, misty kind of background of fear or shame. It can be like a kind of a heavy rain where it's really feeling like, oh my gosh, maybe it's, some depression or a lot of anxiety, or it can just be like a whole, like just tsunami of a flashback. And it can be just really, um, just a really horrible emotional experience. Could be many emotions going on. So I think it's really important to know that well, for myself anyway, really I spent, the first 45 years or so of my life just in living in that flashback, basically, like, but not realizing that it's a flashback. It's like living out of that shame and fear-based identity. And so not even aware that I had a different self. And so it just takes a lot of awareness to start to realize that you're even in a flashback. It takes a lot of awareness of your mind, what's going on in your mind, and a lot of body awareness too, like starting to understand where you feel fear and what it feels like when you're in that feeling of shame, or what does anger feel like for you, and what does it feel like when you're feeling depressed or really sad or grieving. And really, it's my belief that all of these things are flashbacks. If anything feels really intense and it really feels like it's sort of like, I don't know, sort of pops out of nowhere, or sometimes you don't even know why you're feeling that way. And the way it can be so subconscious that you don't even realize why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And it's usually a really intense feeling. And yeah, I think highly sensitive people, a lot of us, I know for me, for a long time, I thought what was wrong with me was that I was highly sensitive. And that's why I had an anxiety, because I was highly sensitive. So I just had to manage this anxiety because that's the way I was. And so it's really important to know that it's not due to being highly sensitive. It's not like, well, we might be slightly more, what would you say, like prone to anxiety because our nervous systems are so well tuned. So um, yeah, so yeah, it's just important to know that these are flashbacks. Like I even realized, like, when I was feeling a lot of depression over this weekend, that it really was a flashback. That by sometimes afternoon it would dissipate and suddenly it would just float away. I say like a hangover. It's like, when, I don't know if you've had a hangover before, but like, you feel like, "Oh," all day, and then it starts to lift and you start to feel a little bit better, a little bit better, and then, oh, I feel fine again. That's kind of sometimes what a flashback is like. I often will wake up in a flashback. Sometimes I'll have dreams that I remember that have triggered me into a flashback. Other times, I think I'm basically waking up every day in a flashback. Sometimes maybe just walking into work, or someone says something or looks a certain way, or I'll just even have one thought in my head and suddenly I'm like, I've gone into the shame and into the fear. Because as soon as you have shame, you have fear, because it's like, yeah, if you have shame, you think, oh, well, I'm not acceptable. I'm not okay as I am. I'm fundamentally flawed. There's something wrong with me. So of course that's going to set you off into like attention, into like worrying about what other people are thinking of you and trying to please people to fit in, and brings up a lot of worry and fear to feel shame. Yeah, it just takes a lot of time, a lot of just conscious awareness to start to realize when you're in a flashback, when you're out of flashback. I started experiencing times where I'm out of a flashback, and now I'm like, oh, that is when I'm out of a flashback, because I still trick myself. Like right now I could be like, oh, I'm fine, I'm doing fine, I'm not in a flashback, but I am. Like it may not be really obvious. It can be very subtle, like it can just be like I notice tension in the back of my neck. Yeah, like I know that I'm not in that. I've been there now. I'm like, I've been where like the veil has peeled away, and I'm sitting there, after doing a long yoga nidra. I'm caring for this little child, because I work as a nanny, and suddenly I'm so present. It's happened to me a number of times now. Feel so present, so deeply, deeply relaxed, so completely in the moment. There's no shame, there's no fear. I feel so engaged, absolutely really interested, really fascinated by whatever's happening, even the smallest of things. And there's beauty. Like everything looks so much more beautiful, and suddenly people are friendly, and you think, oh, wow, she's so kind. And like the whole world changes. It's like things start looking like 3D, and things feel brighter. And I usually feel more expansive. It's like my vision goes like, whoosh, it's suddenly like I can see, and I'm like, whoa, this is what the world really looks like when I'm not in a flashback. So it's a really completely different feeling from living in this small, like kind of contracted place of, yeah, mostly fear and shame, but also can be sadness, can be anger, can be guilt. Anything can be like that kind of a flashback. So I hope that brought you a little bit more understanding of flashbacks. If you have any questions about flashbacks, I'm more than happy to answer your questions. And I highly, highly recommend Pete Walker's book. What's it called? From Surviving to Thriving, Complex Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder. And he has an excellent understanding of flashbacks. And I think he has changed reading his book just absolutely changed my life. So that would be my number one reading recommendation. So thank you for listening. And I'm wishing you many, many blessings on your journey of healing and awakening. And I am Davina Shamaya of Boldness Blooming.